As you know, I'm only interested in the really great bubbles like 1929, 2000, and 2021 are the three senior bubbles in US stock market. We have checked off pretty well every one of the boxes. They all three followed long economic upswings, very strong bull market in the stock market, very strong earnings, almost perfect economic financial conditions by the top of the cycle. They all had a sharp leg down. They've had pretty good rallies. In 29, they had a 42% rally. In 2001, they had a 25% rally. And I believe the S&P had about a 20% rally a week ago. And the NASDAQ has done considerably better. So all present and correct. I'm a little bit disturbed by the emergence of the kind of mini bubble in artificial intelligence, trying to work out, will that be quick enough and strong enough to alter the final stage of this bubble, which is always the longest and most difficult one to predict because it depends on the fundamentals. How quickly and how long will the economy go down? How low will profit margins fall? They have fallen a decent bit already, but they could do a lot worse. And how badly other economic variables will be. The trouble with in global trade, the trouble with China, the trouble with the war, and how will that play out? Very difficult to tell. I think the history says if you handle the economy very badly, you might end up like 1929. If you handle it pretty well, like 2000, you still get a respectable recession, one that will do the job and bring the market down. 2001 was about as easy a recession as you will ever get, a genteel recession, and still the NASDAQ came down 82%. My probabilities that had climbed to 85% likely, which is ridiculously high. I was very confident that this was deflating in the typical way. And that probability has probably backed off to about 70%, which is still higher than a lot of people ever get to. And the reason it's backed off is because of artificial intelligence. This was complicated before AI raised its ugly head because we had inflation, the Fed, how quickly would rates go up, how far would they go up, how would the war play out? Oh my hat, it goes on and on. So it was complicated enough. And now we have, since ChatGPT in October, November of last year, we have a new little flurry of interest, very concentrated. The NASDAQ is up 25% more than the Russell 2000 this year, which is about a world record. To imagine a NASDAQ up 30 and the Russell 2000 up 5, I mean, this is, it's not unprecedented because it happened somewhat similarly in 2000, but it's a very big divergence. So artificial intelligence has the biggest scrambling of opinions, doesn't it, about the future that one has ever seen. I mean, there are really some of the brightest people on the planet saying it's all nonsense, it's just a parrot learning by trial and error, and other people saying it will change everything, it will double productivity for decades, and everybody in between. And this is not my specialty, but what my specialty is to go out further than other people. And I would say this, that if you can chain link 1 million machines so that they all learn the same thing at the same time, they all acquire any information that any of them acquire. This is a pretty unequal struggle with human beings. And it's been an advantage that computers had for the last 60 years, but it didn't matter because the computers were stupid. And now what's happened is they're kind of arming that huge advantage by making the computer finally pretty smart. And there's only one direction that pretty smart is going to go, and that is into the very smart. So imagine a world where you have 1 million devices that all learn everything simultaneously, and they have acquired an IQ of 200. And this is where you start to panic, and you decide that you better destroy them or limit them quickly before they get ideas above their station. I don't think there is any chance over decades, if society stays coherent, I don't think there's any chance that artificial intelligence and computing power will not come together in a way that will give them powers way in excess of human beings. And I agree with the group that says they should be regulated. However, I also look at Homo sapiens so far and think This is not our strength. This is not going to be easy, and it's incredibly risky. What it means in the short term for the stock market is in comparison utterly trivial, insignificant. But my guess is it's not operating on the time frame of this bubble. We have a year or two here to have a fairly traditional bubble losing air, a fairly traditional recession, and fairly traditional decline in profit margins, and some grief in the stock market. And we can do that before the real effects of AI kick in, is my guess. A good reflex would be to think that they've been extremely lucky. They have played right into the strong speculation around artificial intelligence. They've made an unprecedented 25% over anything, and I would have, at the very least, handsomely take profits if I were them.